Hey everybody, welcome back to the PetaPixel podcast. We're scheduling a little more regularly this week, but still not, we're not 100% back to regular schedule. But we're getting closer, right guys? Better, closer, warmer?
I love your scheduling intros.
That's what everybody cares most
this
about.
One's less
especially
confusing.
if they listen to it not on the day of release where it becomes irrelevant.
Yeah,
so I always like to lead with that.
Especially weird because this is on a Friday. We never publish on Fridays, but hey, it's on a Friday, and there's going to be another one later in the next couple of weeks. They'll be published on a Saturday. So like, apologies.
Nothing makes sense anymore.
We can't hit the regular days because there's just too much stuff going on. But thanks for joining us, everyone. We appreciate you sticking around.
That was Jaron Schneider there, but who's that other person in another box?
I'm Chris Nichols. I've been told I need to be happier, so I'm going to be happy.
Well,
do my eyes look dead?
We got a comment in the last episode to that effect. So
I've
chosen a peppy question to get this started before we talk about the brand new Hasselblad X2D II and the Ricoh GR IV, both of which videos just dropped right before this podcast. So we got lots to talk about. But before we get there, everybody, I want to know, what is your favorite sweet treat? Let's say you go out, you have a nice dinner. I'm not a big dessert guy, but what dessert would you order? What
I
is
know what
like
your
your
answer is.
special?
You go first,
Yeah.
Chris. My dog wants out of my office already. Jeez.
Is that like
Come
a
on, Wesley.
body thing? Is that like a code word for you have to poop? I'm not sure. I'm not a huge sugar fiend. What's my favorite sweet treat? Sugar's the devil, but I like ice cream. I like ice cream. Big fan.
That is the correct answer. by
Is
the way.
it? Yeah, because it's not too sweet and it's fun. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I don't really love sweets.
I stood out in a mosquito-infested line with your wife and daughter last night for like half an hour in line to get some fancy ice cream, and I've already immediately forgotten the name of the place. But lineup was
memorable, huh?
That was a bad life choice, Jordan.
It was pretty good ice cream, but yeah, terrible decision.
But I'm boring. I like strawberry and vanilla ice cream. I like
Those
old
are the best
school.
flavors.
Wow,
Yeah.
Jaron, you and me, man. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, well,
My
I've just
wife and
answered
I
for
could
both
not
of us.
decide. Evelyn and I could not decide between strawberry and vanilla, so one of us got strawberry and one of us got vanilla.
Look,
Wow.
I need to say it right now. The slander against vanilla, like calling anything that's like boring vanilla, is it needs to stop. Vanilla is
you're right.
excellent. It is an excellent flavor, and it
Because
deserves
sometimes
it.
the sex you have in the bedroom is Tahitian vanilla bean sex, right? And sometimes it's like romantic French vanilla sex. And like, I'm just saying, no?
I know where this is going. I understand
me?
how you got there.
And sometimes
vanilla is still, as you're saying, vanilla is still great.
Yeah,
sometimes
that's my
it's
preferred ice cream
strawberry-filled
flavor.
sex.
That's a good answer. Is that your answer, Jaron? All things vanilla?
I like vanilla ice cream. It's my favorite ice cream. Strawberry is the other one, but strawberry can tend to start tasting a little fake, even if it's like made with real strawberry.
Yeah,
I love
sometimes
fake
it can
ice
get cough
cream.
syrupy. It can happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I still like it, but like it doesn't actually taste like eating a
fake strawberry sex.
At any rate, yeah, I like ice cream. It's my favorite. I don't eat it very much anymore, but if I had to get a sweet, it's that. I also like just plain fruit, like a handful of berries.
I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I mean, can we go with a childhood choice though as well? Like, what would your like? We've got a refined grown-up taste, but what about like your junky childhood taste? I want to hear both from you, Jordan, because I would also say like a DQ ice cream cake, pretty darn great.
Yeah, based on vanilla ice cream. So
Sure,
initial
yeah, okay, you're
arguments.
right, yeah.
All right. I mean, I am not a sweet person at all, as
No,
you know
you're
from my
mean.
personality.
So
And
grumpy.
yes, exactly. A real drill sergeant kind of vibe
You're a
coming off of me.
sourpuss.
Well,
All right.
my favorites are the sour. Like if you're talking about childhood,
knew
man,
it.
Sour Patch Kids are still my jam. You put me in a movie theater with a bag of those things, they're gone before the trailer. And then I feel like hot trash for another 3 hours afterwards. And then the same thing applies to my dessert preferences. You got to make that thing tart. You got to get me a key lime pie or like a lemon meringue. And that better be lemony. I'm not talking like sweet lemon meringue. I want tart. I want puckering.
Well, wait,
I
we
know
had a
you're going to take
conversa-
advantage of that.
We had about your puckering. We had a conversation before about this though, and I believe you asked like, "What's your favorite pie?" And it was actually strawberry rhubarb. So now I'm
tart.
which is tart.
Yes.
Which is tart. Yes. But
That's my favorite pie, no question.
okay. See, I know you.
put some-
I know you well.
Yeah.
I listen. I listen to you. I listen to
What about you, Jaron? What was your like childhood vice?
I had to go look it up to see if they still make them, and they do.
What,
The
Gobstoppers?
sun-kissed fruit gems.
Oh,
they
wow.
are individually packaged, so these things are terrible.
remember
for the
those.
planet. But they're little like circles, like
Is it like a gusher?
discs. No, they are just a gel of fruit surrounded by like crystallized sugar on the outside. And
Some sort of weird preservative.
solidified
I'm
pig
sure.
fat.
I'm positive none of the flavors are real, but like these are
Is that a
delicious.
thing for you?
My mother used to buy these, and I get like one after dinner. I remember like picking what flavor did I want tonight. They come in like 5 flavors. Yeah,
Just
5.
anything covered in glistening boiled beetle shell is great.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with what it is.
Yeah, I love
I
it.
don't know if your
I like
responses here, Chris, are going to offset the comments that you seem grumpy lately.
What are you talking? Who doesn't like carnauba wax? Come on, man.
I think Chris is grumpy because he just had like whiplash. Essentially, he was living in like his paradise.
Yeah.
Fishing every
Right.
day,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
he had to come back and like go back to work, and so he's taking
And like
it
a
on
lot of
us.
work. Like a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
not. He's unhappy because he's not doing his favorite thing, just like how everyone would be.
Well, I'm doing
Thank you.
my favorite thing, which is starting this podcast. So let's get
Wow.
going.
Wow,
Let's
what
do
a
it.
transition. This week, the PetaPixel podcast is brought to you by PetaPixel memberships. If you are
The
not a member,
members, you might say.
that's correct.
The members
if you aren't
themselves.
a PetaPixel member, I urge you to consider it. Not only is it a way to support everything that Chris and Jordan do, but you get a ton of excellent benefits by
You
joining.
do. You do. We
so-
even have some testimonials coming up in today's episode. And we only paid them a small amount of money to say those testimonials out of our petapixel.com memberships, which is a very reasonable $3 a month or $30 a year. I mean, that's pretty incredible. Hey, Jaron?
I'm still kind of lost on us paying them. I guess they're paid by the benefits. Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know. I'm just trying to make up stuff, man. I don't know. Like we don't pay anybody anything. No, in fact, it was just a straight up genuine testimonial. We'll read it later. This dude loves being a member, but you could also love being a member too because there are great benefits. 25% off our merch store, everything in there. 5% off KH used pre-owned gear purchases. You also get access to JPEG and RAW files from all the reviews that we do, sample galleries. There's so much stuff. The Moment store gives you money back. You get cash back. It's like a credit card, but one of those good credit cards where you get really good points. Everybody says you should get this credit card. It's awesome, dude.
For what it's worth, I'm also working on seeing if it's possible to add additional stuff that makes the website more personalizable. That's the next thing that
Whoa.
I'm trying to do to make it so that you can determine like what you want.
I want an
read.
avatar, Jaron.
I don't know that that's what I meant.
Jaron,
but-
is this correct or not? If you have a petapixel.com membership, can you peruse all of our excellent articles on the website without having to be chained to the evil that is capitalism and all of its consumerist nightmare that it's trying to pass on you with all the ads? Is that true?
Yes, ads disappear if you're a PetaPixel member, and
Yes.
it's great. It's actually funny sometimes when I travel, my phone like will log me out of PetaPixel, and I'm like hit with the ads again. I'm like, oh, these are terrible. I'm so glad I'm a member, and I relog in, and it's great.
Yeah, in Alaska, we were like, why are you crying, Jaron?
Yeah. He's like, it's so beautiful. And we're like, what, the landscapes? He's like, no, the ads.
The other thing that's worth mentioning is Chris kind of passed over the sample galleries. We are talking about Hasselblad this week, and Hasselblad has an like end-to-end HDR workflow, which is impossible for us to show you in pictures on the website because it's just not a thing that is easily transmitted to your eyes through the internet. It's like taking a picture of a picture. We can describe to you what it looks like, but we can't express it to you. And because HDR is a standard that has like 5 standards, and it's not like everyone doesn't have it, it's very difficult for us to show it to you. And much to Jordan's chagrin, we still don't shoot this the YouTube show in HDR. So that's only because he has been like beaten down and shamed by all of the readers who don't, or the viewers who don't like watching HDR in non-HDR.
Did y'all love
formats.
that SDR Pixel review that just dropped? I hope so, because that was HDR last year. It's SDR this year due to your animosity towards the format.
No, it's due to the fact that we don't live in a world where HDR is easily and commonly distributed, and that's the thing. And when Jordan is king of the world, he'll make JDR, he'll crush tyrannically all of the other formats. It'll be JDR, and then everybody will witness the beauty that is this dynamic range increase.
Anyway, by the time you watch this episode or listen to it, the Hasselblad sample gallery will be available to download, and that will allow you, if you have an HDR display, to actually look at HDR pictures. So you would know why Hasselblad decided to push the end-to-end HDR workflow. Because I will tell you, they are certainly better when viewed on a digital screen. So like, if you're not going to print stuff, great. We still haven't figured out the whole printing of HDR. I don't know that that's ever going to happen, but
if you want
glow-in-the-dark ink on your inkjet printer, and you just smear that on where the sky should be.
But if you take a photo at 100 megapixels on your $8,000 Hasselblad and you want to put it on to your social media and have it display to everybody's iPhone in proper HDR, this is the one to do it.
More on that later. But with that, let's get into the news.
All right.
Something that's unusual for us is we did not have this lens at launch, which
I haven't touched
rare.
it. This is not fair.
That's only because they don't have them yet. But Nikon announced a new 24-70 f2.8 S2, the lightest of its kind, and the promise of being the best autofocus performer. And perhaps most interesting, it has the zoom is integrated into the body, so it doesn't change its size when you zoom. That I don't think there's been a 24-70 that does that.
I mean, there has, but not in the current crop of mirrorless.
There we go. Okay, what was the last one then?
Maybe a DSLR version.
I can't think of one.
I can't think of one either.
I think so.
They usually have some sort of movement.
Minor extension.
Extension. There's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So anyway, I saw a comment today on YouTube that was asking, like, where's our review of that? Well, you will have to wait. We do have it on the board to do, but we're sort of just waiting for the lens to show up, essentially. So we'll get to it, but nobody has one right now. And we basically
said to Nikon, like, when it's testable, fire it off, because a standard zoom is something we definitely want to be able to point it at some charts and do some comprehensive testing with it. This is an important lens, but it is a little surprising because we did a 24-70 roundup, and the older Nikon design did extremely well, but it is definitely a bigger lens, no question.
Yeah, this is following the G Master route. It's getting smaller, lighter, 77 millimeter filter thread instead of 82. What is it, like 675 grams? Like that's getting down to G Master territory. Might even be a little bit lighter. So yeah, it's that's always positive. I mean, people want smaller and lighter, and Nikon seems to have thrown like every optical performance doodad that they have at this lens.
Yeah, that new focus motor is definitely, because that is, when we did our comparison, one area where the G Master really stood out. Yeah. So a little zippier autofocus on that. And yeah, not extending the barrel is going to be awesome for video work. Like, to be able to just drop this on a gimbal and not have to rebalance a standard zoom, that's really sweet. So it's just further proof, like, Nikon is really embracing anything that's going to make them stand out in the video world right now.
They say a little bit improvement. That's actually 5 times faster autofocus, 5 times better. I don't know what that means. But silky swift voice coil motors. I like that. So more letters that I have to put in front of every lens. I'm excited.
So my question for you guys is, like, the last one. So the one that this is replacing is larger.
Yes.
Heavier.
Great lens.
And it had 17 elements in 15 groups. This new one is smaller, lighter, and has 14 elements across 10 groups. So it's got fewer glass elements, is smaller, and it's lighter. From a physics perspective,
Digital corrections.
This lens should be worse, right?
Well,
it should be. I don't know if it will be, but looking at what we're expecting from what you can't get smaller, lighter, and reduce the elements and expect it to either be the same or better.
it all depends, right? I mean, generally, when you start cramming more glass into more groups, you're trying to correct more optically in the lens path, the light path. So what we could surmise is that they're going to rely more on digital correction and less on actual optical correction, which again has benefits for sharpness and detail, has benefits for compactness, focusing speed. I mean, reducing the amount of glass in there is always a positive in a lot of ways, except when it comes to correcting optical issues. So,
right.
Yes, which is everybody's doing this now.
I can't remember, but did they? I don't think this is replacing the first one. I feel like they're planning on still selling both. Do you remember them saying that? I can't remember that, but it would make sense that they would keep both then for someone who cares more about the optical correction. And this is obviously, at least obvious to me, this is a video focused optic. Like they want this to go with Nikon's new video focused direction.
Yes.
So I think offering both has benefits.
Yeah, but I mean, certainly we saw some more digital corrections with, like Chris mentioned, the G Master version 2, which got smaller and lighter. And it was also, like the original version was more prone to chromatic aberrations, which you'd think the extra elements would be a big factor for. It's really tough to tell. I mean, modern lens design is baffling. So I hesitate to say it. And I do really like the idea of Nikon moving in look, all of our lenses are great for photo and video. That's the same decision that Panasonic made, where we're seeing some companies like, Canon would be a great example, where it's like, this is video optimized lens, this is photo optimized. But I think the hybrid nature of mirrorless, that makes a little bit less sense. Like I'd like to know, hey, if I invest in one lens, it's going to be able to do both jobs. So we'll see if there's a trade-off for photographers. But also, Nikon's been kind of killing it with glass lately. So I am reluctant to say like, oh, it's probably going to be worse photographically. We'll have to wait and see.
We're going to test bokeh. We're going to test flare. We're going to test all that stuff. It seems like if you're in the Nikon ecosystem, you got a lot of options now when it comes to f2.8 general purpose zooms. Hey, like you got a lot of choices spanning many different price ranges. So yeah, it's a good time to be a Nikon user.
Unless you like Sigma lenses, but other than that,
right? Yeah, but who likes Sigma, right? I mean, come on.
I'm continuously, that still really bugs me.
They got Tamron. They got Tamron. The 2875 version 2
G2 2875 is very.
It's a great lens. Great lens.
But there's
Jordan and I
Sigma
both chef
primes.
kissed. Yeah,
Sigma
no
primes,
Sigma
man.
primes.
I'm a Sigma prime man.
Tamron has prime. Oh wait, no.
They got a 90. They
have
190.
Okay, well, we're going to move to the next story, but this is breaking news, just hitting right now as we're recording. As expected, Apple's next iPhone event is September 9th.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually going to open the email right now and look at it with my eyes. Here it is. The line they're using is awe-dropping.
Awe-dropping.
Awe-dropping, A-W-E.
Give that person a raise immediately.
They're just dropping
Apple.
awes all over the place. Oh, man.
So
maybe it'll be the cutest phone ever, and they'll release it, and we'll all be like, "Aww."
It'll
have little ears.
There is a rumor that they're gonna bring back like the Air or like the Mini or something small, but I don't know, because the last time they did that, as much as people liked it, they didn't sell incredibly well. So we'll see.
I just want them to spell my name right. Like that's all I ask. Spell my last name right. Is
it not spelled correctly?
It's never spelled correctly. Like doesn't their AI
right now?
Doesn't their AI automatically like scour the internet for like who I am and where I belong, and then
really
get
is it
things
actually
right?
spelled wrong?
Yeah, it's spelled wrong. Yeah.
We will not be attending this year the event due to gross negligence.
Yeah, I don't want any H's anywhere near my last name, and throw an extra C in there for God's sakes.
The H feels like it should be in there.
I know. We are the ones that messed it up. Actually, do you know, I did see one of my ancestors, they were sailors just near Bristol, popular sailors on the T-clippers. Actually, Nicholls was the way that it used to be spelled. And then some weirdo in the family is like, nope, not going to have any of those H's. Can't stand the H's, and got it out of there. So I don't know what to tell you.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about film, my favorite topic. Lucky's new Color 200 film that they have been working on for a little while and it's heavily hyped.
Yes.
We got some samples, And
Ooh, I don't. I have the old stuff.
Right. They don't have do they have color film? Right? I don't think it's all black and white, right? I don't think they have a color film. But at any rate, it's a color 200. If you click on the link in our board, you can take a look at these samples, Chris. And I'd actually like to get your opinion. You've seen them? What do you think? What do you think?
So I used to actually buy Lucky Film was actually in the dollar store in Canada for quite a few years, back in the day, maybe like 7-8 years ago. So I would buy it, try it out, and it was very retro looking, right? It had that sort of like 80s kind of like from my childhood snapshot kind of color, muted, kind of warmer tones. And looking at the 200, it looks very similar. I mean, it looks a little bit more crisp. Again, I'll have to shoot it myself, but there's a definite push to sort of warm red tones and then kind of like tungsten-y, greeny shadows. So it has a very vintage kind of look. The photos look pre-aged. They look like they've been sitting in a shoebox for 10 years in a closet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't like them.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
This is going to be a cheap film, and it's going to be a little cheaper probably than Kodak Gold. I think Kodak Gold looks way better.
So here's a question. If you were going to make a new film emulsion, right, to get it to look, air quotes, good, I'm doing air quotes for the viewers that are the non-viewers that are listening, to make film look good takes a lot of research, development, like, proper color dye usage, like all sorts of stuff, tweaking it. Maybe it's just easier to make experimental, fun, weird color films and then call it a vibe, right? And call it a look or a retro or whatever. And a lot of companies do that. But it's interesting that this is going right off the bat, their new film. And again, let's be clear actually too, Lucky's saying this isn't their final emulsion. They're still kind of working it out and playing with it. This was the first of a limited run and they're trying to tweak things. But I don't know. Do people like the kind of retro look, magenta sky, greeny shadows, red tones? I don't know. You guys tell me. Is it a vibe? Kids talk about vibes nowadays.
As the non-film shooter here, I know my opinion holds a little bit less water, but I really think if you could easily get your hands on a whole bunch of Fujifilm and Kodak film that had like a really nice natural look to it, then that's where these other like vibes films would have much more of a place. But it's really hard to get good, affordable film. I mean, Kodak Gold, like you mentioned, is basically the only option at this point. So yeah, it's disappointing that there's not like a competing film for people who just want nice natural photos at an affordable price when they're shooting film.
Yeah,
that's a bit of a bummer.
That's kind of what I was getting at is like, has the whole analog world shifted to where proper color isn't cool anymore? You know what I mean? You want some sort of twinge in your photos. I mean, you can still get Fujifilm Superia, can't you?
Nope. You can get 200. Fujifilm 200.
Yeah, there you go. So it's
Which I think also, shocker, looks better than this film.
Sure. Good
and
film.
It's cheap. It's $9 a roll.
Cheapish. Yeah. I think a lot of people were actually kind of like, why isn't this Lucky Film like even less money? But
yeah, I think the Lucky Film is probably going to be in like the $6 range, is I bet what they're going to target. And I don't know that losing sharpness and getting worse color to me is worth saving $3.
It's a vibe. That's all you're supposed to say. You're supposed to say it's a vibe.
100%. This photo. So the second one that we have in the article that you can link, click to in the description below, of a kid drinking like a milk box, a juice box,
reminds you of childhood.
Yeah, that photo was taken in 1989, and you can't convince me otherwise. Like, that legit looks like photos my mother took of me. So yeah, I can see that's going to be a thing. People are going to be like, "That's what I want. I want to pretend like I don't live in the hellscape of the 2020s, and that I'm back in the beginning of the 90s, and that will make me feel good inside."
Oh,
sure,
man.
if that's the goal, success, I guess.
The 90s were great for some people, not everybody.
I will say the dynamic range on this looks okay. It doesn't look fantastic. Then that second picture, that sky is gone. But in the third picture, like, you can still see it, and there's still skin detail too, despite the really heavy highlights. So like it's got a little bit, which is nice.
Let's see what they do. Let's
wait for the final emulsion. All right, moving on. Insta360 announced a new camera last week, and it's honestly probably the coolest camera they have announced in a while.
That's the Aw camera, not the Apple. This thing's cute.
Well, we don't know. So I have one right here. This is the Insta360 Go Ultra, and so it has like the old form factor, like a GoPro body.
Okay.
And the screen flips up like that. But the real like thing is that it's it disconnects. And so this still stays connected wirelessly to this screen. So like you can still control the camera from this.
Very nice.
And then it comes with this like necklace piece that hides under your shirt. So if you recognize this little strap thing, it's because I actually was using this to mount my lav mic because it's magnetic. And I could just sit here and I just stick the lav mic to it rather than having to worry about stickies or clipping.
That's the participation medal I've always wanted.
But the way it's supposed to work is it sits on this and then you have it under your shirt and then you can see what you're doing. I did use it for my Leica film comparison review, where if anything that looked like a first person, me taking pictures, was shot with this.
Ooh.
It works really well. It's a good camera. It's fine. It's not going to blow you away with its quality, but I think it's a very useful camera.
I think it's also got like a magnet mount. Does it have a magnet base that you can like grip to your shirt or something like that? Or maybe you just use the lanyard inside your shirt.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It goes on the inside. This hangs around your neck.
And then it's magnetized. Oh, that's cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And that has other accessories too that I have. Like there's a hand grip one they show or whatever. It's neat. It works really well. The
rugged enough. Yeah.
pictures that they're showing here from their press kit, they are like sharper and better than I think that you can actually expect out of this thing. But yeah, it's nice. I like it. Good camera.
Well, the big thing, it's very dependent on Insta360's software, which used to be a real problem, but it's quite good now. I'm actually quite impressed with their desktop software and their mobile app.
It's neat that you can use the base.
There we go.
As like a live monitor. I do dig that. So whatever the camera's recording, you can still see on the base.
Stick it on your kid or your pet, and you can still be swapping frame rates and having a good time.
And not stupid expensive. $450 is kind of what they're talking about. I mean, although who knows? By the time it comes out, maybe the tariffs will hit it up to $4,000.
The latency is not even that bad. Look at that. The latency is
pretty.
I mean,
pretty
I'm blown out because the lighting in here is terrible for this, but
Yeah.
it's not that bad. You can definitely see the quality drop on the screen when it's doing a wireless transmission compared to when you pop it in.
Gotcha.
And it like sharpens up immediately because it's got a better connection, but it's not bad. Like you can still use it for what you're going to use it for.
For framing. Yeah.
Oh, I'm recording. What am I going to do with that lovely footage?
I don't know. Post it now.
It's a little window into your recording area there, Jaron. You can just post that online as hot BTS for PetaPixel members.
Highly recommend Becca Farsacci's video if you want to know like a full review of this thing. She did a great one, so go check her out. She's great as usual.
You know, GoPro is like, I'm tired of all these companies getting in on our territory. We're the first, blah, blah, blah. So now GoPro is punching back, aren't they? They're like, we can steal your designs too, bro. Yes, potentially.
So, yeah, they have patented a design for an Osmo Pocket competitor. And just like GoPro has done so successfully in the past, this one is modular and the pieces can come apart and go on certain things. So the design describes like the top of the camera will pop off, like part of the gimbal on it, and separate from the handle. And then that thing can attach to other stuff. And boy, it's as if they didn't learn their lesson last time. But in this patent application, it describes it fitting wonderfully onto a quadcopter.
Perfect.
So,
it's back.
For anyone who doesn't remember this, and you would not be blamed for forgetting, the GoPro Karma, which was their disastrous drone attempt, had a removable gimbal system that allowed you to take the camera unit off the GoPro or off the Karma and actually use it handheld if you wanted to. So they really were quite ahead when it comes to this concept, but it was such a terrible drone that nobody really talked about like this one aspect of it because the drone would never take off or it would immediately crash if you did.
Yeah, Google Karma falling out of sky, and you'll find some fun news stories going back to like 2017, 2016, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I remember there was one like catastrophic GPS failure across their whole network, and any drone that was in the air immediately just fell out of the sky. And then
that's awesome.
None of them would take off. And I also have this distinct memory. I had a Mavic at the time. I think it was a Mavic Pro, like maybe the original or the second one. I was in Hawaii and I put it up, flew my shot, got back down, and there's a guy who was there before me and then eventually left after me, could not get his Karma to take off. Just was struggling with it.
Those were the drone dark ages, right? And GoPro is still a force that has to be respected. I mean, they've got a lot of market share, and certainly the Osmo Pocket 3 is just like killing it, right? I mean, it again, just like their drones, seems to have a monopoly on the creator crowd. So I can see why someone would want to get into some of that market share, but I don't know. This is all just patent level now.
Yeah.
It doesn't look sexy. Even just off the patent photos, doesn't really look sexy, but...
Neither does a DJI Pocket. Like it's not a pretty camera. It's just incredibly functional. Like I'm really of two minds with this because on one hand, like I've stopped reviewing gimbals because we've kind of like hit a threshold. It's like you don't need to. Back in the day, like the upgrades on every Ronin RS series were really dramatic. I'd say since the RS3, it's like we're not seeing huge updates. So it makes a lot of sense to be like, look, the gimbal technology is not evolving as fast as the camera. So just pop a new module in whenever a new GoPro comes out. Yeah. That makes a ton of sense. On the other hand, I think the appeal of the Pocket 3 is it's just like, hey, you want to go do YouTube? One box, buy it. It's absolutely everything that you need, and it all works great. I think that's a huge part of the appeal. Complicating it might not be the route that GoPro necessarily wants to go.
Yeah. Anyway, this is just a design patent, and the actual patent itself isn't for a handheld camera. They're describing the modularity and a combination of a mechanical and software stabilizer. Like that's the juice that they're saying is patentable. Sure, whatever.
I'm looking forward to them explaining that juice to us when this product comes out, and just the stokage that will take place.
There's going to be some righteous press release stokage for us.
Yeah.
Chris, do you think there will be like whip pans to exciting new features in that presentation?
Bro, I feel like the technology is going to be the most tubular, like just gnarly. Yeah, just radical. Righteous, awesome, radical technology. Like it will blow your mind. It's a game-changing powerhouse.
How long do they have, you think? Last thing on this. How long do they have to make this and for it to be successful? Like, how long do we have to wait?
Like 4 days.
No, like how long could they go? Like we're not going to get it this year, for example. I don't think so.
Definitely not.
Would it have to be next year? Would it have to be the year
I would hope so.
after that? Like when does it stop being something viable?
I don't know. Either that or DJI
with GoPros.
Yeah, either that or DJI just gets canceled in North America, and then they'll just reap that market.
GoPro's
they're banking
probably. Yeah, they're probably thinking like we're going to need to fill this gap because DJI can't sell here anymore. Yeah. Which is stupid. All right, this next one is weird.
This is a contentious story.
Yeah. Do you guys watch tennis?
Heck no. But my mom does.
Neither do I. My mother also watches tennis. Our mothers
no, because we're the same people.
That's the new branding for tennis. It's just like tennis. Your mom watches it.
Your mom watches it. Yeah.
So the U.S. Open was having some matches
in New York City.
And it was the end of a match, and one of the tennis players was on match point. And so, big deal. If you don't know how tennis works, if you're serving, you get 2 chances. If you miss your first one, like you hit the net or whatever, or you hit it outside the lines, you get.
And also, if you don't watch tennis, the serve gives you a big advantage in scoring, right? Typically, the one who's serving has a large advantage in getting the point.
So Bonzi is his name. He missed on the first serve. I think he hit the net. So he faulted. So he's working on his next serve.
His last serve.
For match point. And a photographer comes out of the tunnel and onto the green of the court. So he's not actually on the court, but he's like in the area you're not supposed to be in. He gets yelled at by the judge, and then the judge awards Bonzi a repeat of his fault, which is a huge advantage because essentially he now gets 2 faults.
Yeah.
Which he ends up needing because he misses on his next one. But because the guy he was playing against was so incensed by the ruling that it took 5 or 6 minutes to calm the crowd down because he whipped the crowd into a frenzy to get this to restart. Bonzi he did not score match point here, and they ended up playing for like another 2 hours before Bonzi did eventually win.
Yes.
But it could have ended here instead. That's what this whole thing is about. Now, this photographer was immediately ejected, and his credentials were stripped for this. And he's saying that he's the victim and that he was told by a security guard that he could immediately go out of the tunnel and do that. So a lot of finger pointing, but as far as we know, he's still banned. But like, crazy story, because this was a really important match. Bonzi is unranked, while the tennis player he was playing against was
Medvedev,
like
Daniil Medvedev,
who ended up losing. So Bonzi succeeded in the upset anyway, but it just took a lot longer.
Yeah, in the end, the actual fault, not that this is justifying anyway, it's not, but the actual fault that was called didn't change the outcome of the situation. Medvedev actually did end up winning that match, even though Bonzi had this advantage for sure, twice, right? Not only serving, but then also getting his
he
first
won the
serve
game.
back.
He lost.
He did win the
match.
game. So there's no that so actually disputing if it actually impacted the game itself, who knows? Not really. But yeah, the big deal is
Your mom cares deeply.
my mom cares
Both
deeply.
of your moms.
Our moms they were just frenzied. No, but I mean, it brings up a lot of things. I mean, a lot of people are like, well, Daniil Medvedev's response to this was very childish, booing and like getting the crowd to boo. And it took 6 minutes to calm. Like, that's nuts. Right. And it's also, Medvedev even said, like, I wasn't even upset at the photographer. Like, it really wasn't a big deal to me. I was just upset that the dude got that Bonzi got his.
The judge. He was upset with the judgment, and the judge allowing Medvedev to continue to whip this crowd up is actually, I think, what I take the most issue with. Like, he should have shut that down, and he didn't.
Yeah, it was wild. I also though feel like tennis is like, and this is completely off topic, but this story's neat because it brings up a whole bunch of stuff. I feel like tennis is like one of these sports where they've always had some very strict rules and very strict rules on conduct and how you act and how everything, right? For the crowd, for the players, everything. And I feel like tennis is trying to kind of get into this bad boy image now. Like, they're trying to kind of open it up with like, a little rough around the edges. It's straight up
just for your mom.
Yeah, not just for your mom. It's like straight up Caddyshack now in the tennis world. And they're trying to get like other people to enjoy it. Like, oh, booing's cool. We can do that. I'll watch. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I feel bad for the photographer. He's an experienced photographer, sports photographer. He's been around for a while. We can talk about the lens hood next. I know that's going to get a lot of people going.
It's on backwards. You don't like that?
But I mean, like,
what about his strap? He's using the stock Sony strap.
I've been in these situations where it's like, yeah, you absolutely want to get the best shot possible. So there's the stress there. And he's trying to get to center court so he can get that winning match shot. Like, this is a big deal. So I get why he wants to get out there. He's not in good position, and the game could end at that moment. You want to get that shot.
Or the handshake when the match ends. Like, that's
all of that, right? You want to be center stage for that, for sure. I totally get it. Do I think he would have just run out into the game during a thing? I don't think so. I mean, you could maybe say, oh, maybe he was confused and stuff, but I don't know. I kind of feel like when you're in those situations as a sports photographer, there's a lot of rules given to you. You know the stuff, like, you're pretty hyper aware of it. So I don't necessarily think that's just my feeling. Could the security guard have been like, yeah, fine, go ahead. I don't care. Maybe. I mean, that seems reasonable too. Who knows? If the security guard was like, don't go out there, I don't think he would have. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. Who's wrong here? It's a really fascinating case.
Yeah, finger pointing.
Tennis is good for movies, like challengers rules, match point rules. So maybe they'll make a film about this dramatic exchange, and it'll be awesome.
Yes, but it's only exciting when they like add a whole bunch of sex and weird rule changing and controversy, right? And fighting. Nobody cares when they're all well behaved.
That's true. Your mom does.
What? No. Oh no. Why, Jaron? Why?
Well, because Nikon will raise its prices again on September 1st in the United States in response to the increased tariffs. They had to raise them when they were 10% because we have now agreed to 15%. Nikon will raise them again. At Nikon, we remain committed to providing the highest quality imaging products and value to our customers. As we continue to navigate the impact of tariffs, a further price adjustment will take effect September 1st, 2025. We are closely monitoring tariff developments and the evolving market conditions and are taking every possible step to minimize the impact on our community. We wish to thank our customers for their understanding. Customers with order inquiries should contact their authorized retailer for support. So we haven't heard from Canon yet, and we haven't heard from Sony yet. And I don't think we will hear from either of them. I think the price increases will just drop one day, and that'll be it, because they didn't really say anything last time.
Right.
There is one company that I keep forgetting to mention that hasn't raised their prices at all, and I feel like it's got to happen at some point, and that's OM System. They've just sat there through 2 tariff increases. Maybe they just have huge...
I bet they have stock in North America right now, so they don't have to. Yeah, I bet there's plenty warehoused and has been there, which is not the best situation to have as a camera manufacturer.
No,
but that's my suspicion. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. They probably just have a bunch of stock here, and it's not moving fast enough for them to worry about it yet. Except, what about any new products that they release? Should they release a new product? You would think, I guess, it would have the pricing baked into the cost.
Yeah, we said with both the OM3 and the OM5 II that these prices were a little higher than we anticipated. So maybe that's already cooked in.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this very shortly, because there is a product that we are going to talk about in our main news stories where it looks like some of the price increases have been cooked in.
What a transition.
Is that a segue?
Yeah, I think.
Am I not the segue king? I think we all have to. I'm the king of the segue.
Dude, you are Job from Arrested Development.
Yeah,
always
Job,
on top of that segue.
Happily. I'm going to get a crown and ride around on my Segway all over Calgary.
So you were referring to the GR4, but we're going to talk about that last. Let's talk about the Hasselblad first, because there's a lot to discuss. Yes, it's sitting on your desk. There it is. So let's do a couple of things. I know people want to know what your thoughts are on this compared to Fujifilm's medium format solutions.
Oh, God.
And there are a couple of things that are worth discussing in a little bit more detail. For those who want just to know information about it and Chris's actual opinion, we have a whole video on that. We published it earlier this week. It's a review. And then Jeremy wrote a extremely detailed written review, which is also linked to that. So you should definitely check both of those out. Should you have questions?
Textbook-sized review.
Yes. And as mentioned earlier, if you want to see what the pictures look like, they are available to PetaPixel members to download them full RAWs, including the HDR stuff on petapixel.com. But for now, why do you think it took so long for the X2D system to get it, even the X
system,
just their whole X system, it took this long to get it right?
Well, have they got it right? I mean, that's something else we can talk about.
Jeremy argues that this is the best experience that he's had with any camera in some time.
What?
And that he really likes this camera. He really likes it. He thinks it's finally good.
Interesting. I mean, I like the camera a lot, and maybe I've used the X system, the X1D system. I didn't get to review the X2D, but I've played with it since. Right? Jordan did that review, and also the CFV system. Right? So I have a fair amount of experience with the Hasselblads. We've done a lot of reviews. It's a prestigious camera. I don't expect it to have every 2-year release cycle. I mean, that's just not practical, But
but they've been very consistent with their release. It's 3 years, pretty much on the dot.
Yeah, 3 years. So that's good. I mean, that makes sense for me for a medium format camera of this sort of prestigious caliber. I think they really wanted to maximize the DJI partnership, and maybe it took a time to build that in and design it all and stuff like that. But I mean, this is the easily the nicest X2D, X camera that I've used to date from Hasselblad. But that's in some ways that was a low bar. In some ways it was a high bar. They kept all that. In some ways it was a low bar.
So why did it take them so long, do you think, to get to this point where you can actually say it was a good experience? Because there's been major issues with this system previously.
The only issue I've ever really had with the X system personally is the autofocus. Everything else I can pretty much forgive. it's really just the autofocus. Like let's talk about what they've done right, because I think Hasselblad's done a lot right here. The body design has always been beautiful. It represents the price point that you're paying. They're rugged enough. I really like the control structure for the most part, especially the touchscreen has always been fantastic. I mean, the Hasselblad touchscreen, great menus, not just that they're easy to adjust with the touchscreen, but also that they have large font and they're clean and they're logically laid out for a simple camera. EVF has always been good. The back panel has tilted since the X2D, which is a nice touch. The grip has always been comfortable. Battery life's not garbage, as medium format cameras go. So those things were always nice. Like, it was always a nice experience. My complaint was always, damn, this autofocus, it can't even seem to focus on an eyeball properly. You know what I mean? Like a stationary person, it can't do. And they were pushing the X2D in a silly way, in my opinion, back when they marketed it as this like hip travel street camera experience that, brings all of these megapixels to your dynamic photos on the street. And I mean, 100 megapixels means nothing if your subject is wildly out of focus, right? So that was right. They were stable enough. They had IBIS. They have great lenses, albeit expensive, but they're very good optically. Everything looks sexy. The real problem was, can I shoot this quickly and can I focus it properly? And I feel they've addressed some of that in this version.
Yeah, it puts me in a bit of a tricky place because, as Chris mentioned, I did the X2D original review. He was sick at the time. And yeah, I just found like the software was the issue. Like the hardware, they're so good at this point. Everything does feel very prestigious. But yeah, I remember trying to take a photo of my son with like pinpoint autofocus, and it was always focused on the brim of his cap. And then I went out with Ryan HK, who's like professional studio and portrait photographer. Would not focus when you underexposed your subject and let the strobe fill in, which is exactly how you shoot strobes, especially if you have a leaf shutter lens. That's the advantage. Like, hey, we can fight the sun. We can underexpose the image, and it couldn't do it. But then, yeah, Chris has used this with strobes and didn't seem to mention any issues. I saw the photos come in with Levi. Big thanks to Levi for shooting that episode, by the way, while I've been in post-production hell. And it looked dramatically improved. So if they've fixed that, pretty sweet.
Yep. So let's talk about the improvements that they have done here. So the stabilizer is a little bit more effective. I mean, that's always nice to have.
Jeremy handheld it to a crazy degree.
Yes.
And actually was able to do it. It was like, he held it for like 2 seconds. It was insane.
And I wasn't, and Jordan wasn't. I mean, so yeah, I want to talk about that. The stabilizer now, they're claiming 10 stops in the center, 8 stops in the corners. They're claiming that it works now with DJI's sort of GPS technology. It knows where you are on the planet. You use it with the Focus 2 app. So then it can counter Earth rotation, yada, 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 fancy stuff.
2.2 seconds.
2.2 seconds.
2.2 seconds handheld, he got a sharp image.
At 90 mils.
At 90.
Yes.
Bananas. That's insane.
So
yeah,
this isn't a takeaway
normal
from Jeremy, but if you look at the photo, it's absolutely usable. It actually is good. Like, it's absolutely good, but it's not, there's a little bit of motion blur there. And for me, I'm very critical of that when it comes to medium format, because extra megapixels will always accentuate issues like that, right? So yes, he got a great photo. They're beautiful landscapes. But would I say that that's 100 megapixels resolution? No, right? So I have to go by where are you still retaining the image quality out of the camera? And I was able to get that around 1/10 of a second, which is still fantastic. I mean, if I can shoot 1/10 of a second handheld at 100 megapixels and get full resolution, to me, that's very impressive, right? And again, your mileage will vary. You might be able to go even further than that. So multi-seconds, their claim, I would say yes, but don't expect full quality out of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
yeah.
Next question folks have. Oh, you have more?
Well, I mean, we have to talk about the autofocus, because that's the other, like, that was the real issue, right? So that is one of the big improvements. They didn't make the camera faster. It's still 3. In fact, I think it's slightly slower. It's 3 frames per second. That's fine. They're big files. They don't have a super fast throughput. I love the terabyte of built-in storage. That's great. CF Express B cards for when you want to go with a removable media. But the autofocus has been improved. This now uses LiDAR, the first mirrorless camera like this.
I feel like that was something that we maybe didn't, maybe you did, but we on the written side did not put enough emphasis on. This is the first interchangeable lens mirrorless camera to use a LiDAR at all.
And subject detection, more advanced subject detection.
That little window on the side
This little window here. Yeah, this little thingy here. Boop. Yeah. Firing out those laser beams, those light beams.
And your experience with autofocus was good?
It was better. It's still not great. I mean, like I'm going to want to probably look at them side by side. It gets closer to what Fujifilm is achieving out of the GFX. And Fujifilm is going with classic phase detect hybrid autofocus. And Fujifilm's is good, but we've had complaints about that too. With the Hasselblad, the LiDAR, I think, does a great job of getting you very close within the realm of where the focus should be quickly. It can then use phase detect to fine tune from that point. But there's still a little bit of hunting and searching afterwards. Like it goes really quick to distance and then it's like, the LiDAR is nice because it'll work even in like pitch black. Like it'll work in incredibly dark situations. So that's cool. But I still feel like the autofocus experience needs to be refined. It still hunts a little bit. It didn't give me tons of confidence for shooting. Like if I was shooting on the street and trying to capture somebody walking or moving, I don't know. But in portrait situations, at least it is now getting to the iris properly most of the time. There's still room for improvement though. But yes, any growth in the autofocus is great because that's where this camera really needed it. And I'd say now it's viable. That's a good word for it. It's viable.
I think one of the cool things there is we're very dependent on the actual throughput of the sensor when it comes to autofocus. Yeah. So like we see this, with Fujifilm specifically, they like faster reading sensor. This is a better focusing camera. They lean on that all the time. Where if you can detach those, kind of like we used to with, an optical viewfinder on a DSLR, like the sensor readout speed doesn't really matter. The LiDAR is doing its own thing independently. So in the future, we could get slow reading sensors with very precise constant autofocus calculations. It's just tough for us to tell at this point, like how much of the autofocus improvement comes down to the LiDAR, how much of those new autofocus algorithms now that they have subject detection for the first time. Yeah. I think that's what's really interesting. What I want, because DJI owns Hasselblad. Give me that vertical waveform view that we have in the Ronin 4D, and you can actually manually focus and see a map of the scene in front of you and where you're focused. It's an incredible system that's currently still only implemented on like the Ronin gimbals and the Ronin 4D cameras. It would be great to see it in a camera.
I'm skeptical if it'd be accurate enough for manual focusing 100 megapixels, but who knows? Who knows? It's a cool feature. I like it too. It's really neat visually.
I will say that one of the weaknesses of DJI's camera systems, which is usually less visible, is their autofocusing. The Osmo Pocket 3, for example's autofocus can be a little weird and inaccurate and sometimes straight up bad. But it was never an issue we noticed on drones because drones don't focus that closely and have an issue with it. And then Hasselblad, before DJI acquired a majority stake, also was not a fantastic autofocus designer either. So
they gave you a good point of focus.
Sweet. So like we got two companies now who don't have a strong history in creating really good autofocus. So it is nice to see that they're making improvements though. And it is interesting that they're moving with LiDAR more than, I say more than anyone else because no one else is doing it. It's an interesting direction for them to go to solve the same problems that other people are solving through on chip stuff.
How does it compare to Fuji? Like, and that's going to be a question.
That's the next thing. That's the question. Like, do you need to do a side by side, more closer investigation? Before we talk about that, last thing about the autofocus is the improvements to this are not across the board. Not every lens works with
only the XCD stuff. Yeah, at the moment,
and some of them require a firmware update in order to do it. So I'm wondering how much of this actually might be on the lenses, the motors just not being capable of doing what it's being asked to do.
Yeah. And that is a good point. Like, Hasselblad lenses have not been the fastest focusing lenses.
Because
I think that's where
they weren't designed
never valued it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't value it.
But now they do.
Yeah, so hopefully we're going to see some changes there. I feel like that's a big part of where the hunting comes from. But
I bet it does.
Look, the experience on this is so much better than what we had before. Like, this is one of those iterations where, sometimes you're like, oh, if I had to go back to the camera previously, no big deal. You know what I mean? But if I had to go back to an X2D from this, I'd be like,
which you shouldn't do, by the way, because it's more expensive for some reason.
I would hate that experience. Like, this is way better. And I think it's, like, okay, well, why don't we get into Fujifilm? Like, this is a sexy camera. I did really like my RF experience, though. I think that was a really neat move. The GFX are practical cameras. They're beautiful in their own right. I mean, this is obviously more of a prestigious camera. I don't think there's any doubting that. Every way, like just how it's machined and everything, the grip feels great. I do love the joystick. I know a lot of people are like, that takes away from the, cool art factor of the camera.
People are saying that?
Yeah, some people do. They're wrong. This joystick's great to have. It really makes the camera more functional, but it's still gorgeous. Like it is objectively a gorgeous camera. There's no denying it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really cool. I love the orange. I love the orange.
It's not ridiculously heavy. Like it's comfortable. It feels stable. It's a gorgeous camera to use. The handling's really nice. I love the little H's on the lens. Like they actually grip really. Like it's all beautiful. It's I can't. Okay, but Fujifilm GFX is still going to be less money. It's going to give us great controls. It's funny. Fujifilm's usually the sexy retro camera compared to everybody else's brand, but in the medium format world, it's now become the kind of practical, pragmatic choice. It's not that fancy, not that prestigious. It just works well. And the image quality is basically going to be similar. You can get similar results out of them. I don't know, I still think a GFX is a practical choice in comparison.
I have a take. I really think this goes back to the Pentax medium format cameras, where it was yes, they're more affordable, but especially the glass, but you are dealing with a slower focal plane shutter, which is still kind of the GFX Achilles heel. If you're willing to pay a premium, not only, the body honestly is quite surprisingly affordable on this new camera, but the lenses are still dramatically more than you're going to pay in a Fujifilm.
Sure.
Then you get access to that leaf shutter. And if that's going to be useful for the work that you do, then that might be worth it. What's really nice is we don't have that giant gap of but the Fujifilm can autofocus and the Hasselblad will be very frustrating, even if you're using perfect technique when it's just making bad choices. That seems to be less of a concern now. Sure. So now, it's what kind of photography are you doing? If the focal plane's not going to be a limitation, then the GFX is more bang for the buck. But the Hasselblad now, if you want a leaf shutter, you're not making massive compromises to your autofocus, which is awesome.
Well put.
I would say this. If I was going to shoot, though, something that was more action-oriented, I feel like the GFX is still, a 100S2 is still going to be a little bit more reliable and a little bit quicker. And Fujifilm's subject detection modes do work well. They have faster burst rates. I can shoot quicker with them. The great controls, as you say, the lenses are more affordable. They're maybe lighter physically in a lot of cases too. So, if money was an object, I would 10 out of 10 times go with the Fujifilm GFX. If money was no object and I was going to go travel and I wanted a camera, I would say the X2D II Star Wars character is probably, it's good enough that it's really tempting to want to go for it just because it's such a nice experience to use it, if that makes sense. If money was no object, I would be seriously tempted to be let's just throw my dollar bills to the wind and take the Hasselblad because it's just that nice to use and it's really sexy and stuff like that. And you won't hate the experience. I don't hate it. But if I was using my head instead of my heart, the Fujifilm GFX still makes more sense at this point, in my opinion.
I find it concerning that you haven't mentioned the other medium format player at all.
Who? What other medium format player?
Not really on our wheelhouse.
What that camera you reviewed, the most expensive camera you've ever reviewed?
No, it's silly.
Wasn't a great experience.
No, it's silly. Or what? One of the old Leicas? No.
When's Leica gonna get back in this
the
game?
S series,
the
S3.
Okay. So next thing to talk about, because we aren't going to do a standalone review of this, at least it's not on the board for now. But why don't you give us your thoughts on the 35-100 f2.8-4?
I liked it. Again, I haven't tested it as far as optical qualities.
Genuine thoughts.
This gives you a very general purpose. It's kind of like your classic 24 to 70-ish general purpose lens. Yeah, it's not too heavy though. But it's big, sure. But they're all big, but well sealed, beautifully built. It seems sharp. 2.8 to f4 aperture means I'm going to get nice shallow depth of field, regardless of where I am in the zoom. I don't love the floating aperture, but what are you going to do, right? Could they have made this just in f4 and even smaller? Oh yeah, but this is their new prestigious lens, and it looks nice. Looks nice. Felt good.
Cool.
Like the images.
All right, now Jordan, you may.
Video, Jordan. What do you think?
Oh,
No.
yeah, no, it doesn't shoot video, which I think is a fine choice on Hasselblad. They tried doing it for a while and it was bad, so
It
they
was
stopped.
so bad. I was laughing at how
great
hilariously
choice.
terrible it was. Yeah.
We should point out that's obviously a huge advantage to go Fujifilm as well, right? I mean,
Yeah, it can shoot video.
And they're making a concerted effort to make GFXs good at video, for right or for wrong. Whether that's a good choice or a bad choice, they are making a concerted effort to do it. So, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about small cameras, gang. Who wants to do some of that? The polar opposite of the Hasselblad X2D II would be a compact street camera with a fixed lens, right, guys?
Yes, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the GR4, Chris?
I liked it. I mean, yeah, there it is.
That's not a GR4, Jordan.
What? Oh, what?
You
but
and
this
your
is a
DP
fixed lens with a 28 millimeter equivalent focal length and an f2.8 aperture.
How much is Sigma
so easy to
paying
make that
you
mistake.
to promote their ancient ass
hang
cameras?
on. There it is.
Wow.
Oh, look how bitty that is.
Wow. Speaking of bitty, that was quite the bit. Whoa. Hey, Ricoh GR4. Yeah, I mean,
Do we need it? That's the question I came in here with. Did we need the GR4 if this is what the GR4 is?
but I think, I would answer that with, do we need more X100s? You know what I mean? Like, do we?
The X106 was a genuine, gigantic leap over the 5.
No.
Yes,
it was the same camera, the 40 megapixel sensor. Come
Sorry,
on.
Stabilization.
Stabilization dramatically
Sure.
changed. And the stabilization mixed with more resolution dramatically changed what you can do with that camera. I'm sorry if you disagree, but you're wrong.
This has improvements too. I mean,
Okay,
look, if you
are they
look
worth
at the Ricoh GR4, they've improved pretty much everything across the board.
Incredibly incrementally. Incremental is the word of the day when we were looking at the GR4. On the PetaPixel article, Jeremy's like, look, it's all new. Because I remember on this podcast, we were like, oh, it's a 26 megapixel with the same focal length lens. Are they just switching up because they can't get the old 24 megapixel sensor anymore? But there are genuine improvements to almost every aspect of this camera.
26 megapixel
They're
sensor is
just
great.
incremental.
The image stabilization's better. I mean, why would you even compare it to the X100? I like this lens. The lens is improved. The corner sharpness is definitely better than before. It's absolutely mated well with that 26 megapixel sensor. The focal length's way better than anything Fujifilm's ever put in an X100. The autofocus seems to be a little bit faster. The camera battery life needed a big boost. We were getting, roughly just over 20% boost. That's good. It's still paltry, but it's better than the 200 that it was before. It feels great. It's very pocketable, way more pocketable than an X100, like legitimately pocketable, unlike what Fujifilm says. So look, if you want to compare them, I think the Ricoh GR4 is a very cool camera. It makes a lot of sense to have some improvements. The GR3, I feel like people are like, yeah, okay. You're changing out the ND filter for a diffusion filter, great, but it's still the same camera and it's been around for many years. So yeah, I think this is an appropriate improvement to have right now. But you pay for it. You pay for it in a big way.
So the original, the GR3 launched at $900 in 2019?
That sounds right. We were DPRing pretty hard back then.
Yeah. $900.
And then this one is $15. So if you subtract a couple hundred for U.S. North American tariffs, because Canada gets sucked into our tariffs, and I apologize for you.
You monsters.
I don't actually think it's that unprecedented of an increase.
No,
Just
inflation, all that stuff. But it's a big jump, right? It's expensive. But this is the thing, though. When we're talking about these tiny cameras, price seems irrelevant because people are just going to buy these. They're so popular right now.
The GR3 was not available for $900. It wasn't.
Yeah, you couldn't buy one.
I think it was $1,200 or $1,300 typically is what you'd see it for.
They're going to sell every single one they make. So why wouldn't these companies make iteration after iteration after iteration, even if they are relatively small changes, right? They're going to sell out. And this was I don't have it. Jordan's got it. The GR4 was the nicest Ricoh experience I've had to date on a camera, for sure. Like,
it's still, I think it's what's nice about it is like the X106 is not pocketable. I mean, I put it in a pocket. It looks ridiculous.
It looks ridiculous.
That looks
It is.
pocketable.
They've made it thinner. Like, it's the same dimensions, looking at the front of the camera, but
On
it's
the
actually
hump.
a little bit thinner. Yeah. Yeah. It's thinner from lens to back.
And
Which
the thing is, nobody makes this camera except Ricoh.
No.
So like it is a.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it. If this is what you want, this is your option, right?
Yeah. Micro SD is annoying, but it's you'll live.
It's fine.
You'll live.
They're cheap.
Yeah. You'll live.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I think Ricoh's just banking on not having any competition in this market
And
for the
they're-
next 6
Ever.
years, until the replacement. And if that's the case, they can totally justify the price and everything. But that does mean there is room for a competitor to swoop in at, $1,500.
Yeah.
Not cheap.
But who
and
would do
bring
it?
out a competitor.
Who would do
Canon.
it though? Canon?
Canon.
Nah, they won't do it. Canon's no fun. Who would do it?
Canon would do it. It would still not be fun, but they would do it.
I think the room is open for. I think it's the Chinese companies that would get in here, and I'm kind of surprised that nobody has yet.
Like Viltrox?
Well, not Viltrox, but Xiaomi tried a long time ago. That camera was blah, and I think they were like, "Yikes, we'll never do that again." But I feel like one of those companies could definitely make
There's
a
really
sexy.
no reason why Viltrox couldn't do it. They make way more than lenses. They do
Sure.
electronics.
Great. Viltrox do it. Great. I love Viltrox. They do it. I don't care. Somebody do it. But I'm surprised that nobody has made a digital rangefinder to compete with Leica. That blows my mind. I'm surprised that nobody has made a compact APS-C to compete with this. The Sony a6700 is kind of your closest competitor from any of the big companies. And of course, that's
about that.
interchangeable. So, you're not going to get the pocketability. It's a great camera. Why are you doing that face? Why are you making that
Because
face?
it's the same reason you did it to Canon. It's like, I don't know. Boring.
Okay.
Not
But yeah,
fun to use.
Ricoh's going to sell every single one of these. They're going to make money on it. They're going to be happy. The users will be happy. Everybody's happy.
Cool.
And it's still cheaper than Fujifilm.
It is. Didn't used to be, but it
is
is now.
It is. Yeah.
But I would argue it's a different experience. It's not designed to do the same thing.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Super happy we went back to the old command structure, though. The buttons and controls are way better than the
I'm sure you
GR3
mentioned
garbage.
in your review, but is there anything you really don't like about the move from 3 to 4?
Not really. There's nothing to complain about. Everything they did was an improvement other than micro SD, which is a really minor, complaint. No, I mean, that's the thing about it. There's nothing negative about it. Everything they've changed is a good change. So I'm going to go with good camera.
Great. All right. Guys, what have you been up to? Jordan, I know what you've been up to. You and I have been in our edit bays.
Well, I had been. It had been a long time since I took some time. But while I was in Alaska, which there were amazing experiences in Alaska, but it was a lot of work, especially I was out in Portland doing prep and stuff before we even went there. So I haven't had a day off in a little while. So knowing I was going into this was like, look, the Saturday after I get back home, I'm hanging out. So I invited some friends that I used to play music with out to the family cabin. Chris came out with his wife. Everybody brought out their family. All the kids had a great time. And I rented a PA system. We had a big jam in the family cabin. Everybody was hanging out, did a sleepover out there. And it was awesome. It was the best time I've had in a very long time. So I am... I came in Monday pretty refreshed, honestly, and things can truly be good and beautiful in this world. We got to work on the sea shanty version of Kiss by a Rose from Seal that we've been threatening to do. Chris was like, Jordan, I insist that you play drums to Pink Pony Club and edge it up a little with more fills. And I was a dancing monkey, but I had a great time. And perfect weekend. Can't say enough about it. I recommend hanging out with old friends and jamming to anyone who's so inclined.
Yeah, Jordan recommends having a family fortunate enough to have a cabin out in a beautiful location. Big win. Big win.
What about, so you were there for that, Chris?
It was
Anything else
great.
worth mentioning?
He hated it.
No, it was great. The highlight was telling Jordan, like, please drum to Pink Pony Club, and him being like, oh, that's stupid. It's like, there's no whatever. And then you get in there, like, actually, there are some opportunities for some improv and some cool moves and stuff. It's always a joy to watch Jordan play drums. It was great to hang out with everybody. The kids had a great time. No, it was a nice weekend. Yes, needed it. There's been no days off other than that, so it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
You got to fish.
It's been a lot.
So I'm sure that was rejuvenating in some way. I have been sort of trying to stay indoors because it's been really hot here. We've been in a heat wave of like now I understand really hot is subjective, but here in Portland, Oregon, 100 degrees is very hot.
Ooh, and it's moist.
And so I haven't been able to do as much as I wanted. Although Jordan did see that I managed to get a 10-mile bike ride in on Saturday. Then I did a 6-miler on Sunday. A friend did that. So we have like Hood to Coast. I don't think it's actually called Hood to Coast, but it's a run. It's a team-based run that you have like a group that goes from Mount Hood all the way to the coast of Oregon. And you do it in like legs. So somebody does 6 miles, gets on a van, another guy gets out of the van and runs their 6 miles, and you do that, whatever. Anyway, they did this at the hottest that the temperature has ever been for this run. It was 100 degrees out there, and these people were running 30-mile legs or whatever. Sounds truly terrible. I met up with him after it was over. We had some beers at a local brewery and caught up. It was great. He runs my fantasy football league, so it was nice to see him. Thanks for
you mentioned the amount that you were you got an exercise in, and Jaron and I are Apple Watch buddies, so we see when the other ones. And I was throwing a little shade on his rings the other day, not because he wasn't active, but my hangout with my friends day is actually the most active I have been since May when I got that phone. Like outside of Alaska, outside of Japan, it was the most exercise, highest heart rate because we just jammed every opportunity we got. So. I was not throwing shade on Jaron. I was just celebrating myself and my awesomeness.
Yeah, so you actually burned more calories than me, despite the fact that
let me pull this up while you guys talk.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't realize what you were doing. You should have told me, and I would have looked at what you were doing.
Everything that's wrong with our modern world.
It's nice to my favorite thing about the watch and the activities is like the stock responses that Apple builds in for you to pick from. They're all pretty terrible. They're really funny.
Jaron, I got 2,721 calories with 151 minutes of exercise with 19 hours of stand time on my fun, relaxing Saturday.
But
the best.
But Jordan, how much alcohol did we then drink that evening?
I mean, it was probably a net loss for my body overall.
We drank a lot that evening. It was a super fun evening.
Cutwaters, if you know, you know.
Well, I have neglected to put in this particular speak pipe. So let me see if I've got... I'll load it in while we do the first one.
Let's get to it.
So I need to load in Tyrans while we listen to Lucas. So this is the tech support / never read the comments. Let's hear a speak pipe from Lucas.
Hey guys, so currently I'm looking for a camera for video content creation. And I know it's quite common knowledge that going for used cameras for photography is really good value for the dollar. But I've been wondering, is the same true for video? With new entry-level cameras like the XM5, Z52, ZV-E10 bringing such great video features, is it still worth going for the old cameras that people really love for video? Cameras like the GH5, A7 III, XS10, S5, and so on. Currently, I'm using EM10 Mark III, which I love for photography, but it simply does not give the flexibility that I would like to have for my videos.
Everything will be better than an EM10 Mark II. Anything will be better than an OM system camera right now, except maybe the Hasselblad X2D II.
which doesn't shoot video.
Or the Ricoh GR4 for that matter.
That's true, actually. Wow, that was the real commonality between the two cameras. We're talking
Crap
about on
video. Yeah.
I do think a lot of we're always like, yeah, take a look at used cameras. It's because a lot of photographic stuff has plateaued over the last decade, essentially, especially in terms of image quality, where that's not necessarily the case in video. I think even if you go back 5 years, we're still seeing massive video improvements when we get new camera launches. So the ones you recommended, yes, absolutely, you can get awesome quality off of those. It's the experience of shooting, and particularly the autofocus, where if you did jump up to one of the brand, like the ZVE10 II that you mentioned there, that's autofocus you can absolutely just tap and trust, as opposed to like a GH5, amazing video camera. We shot our show for seasons on that thing, but I consider it a manual focus only body. Yeah. So that's the trade-off. If you're willing to put that effort in, then yes, you can get awesome quality on some of those older cameras, but the experience of shooting is still going to be a lot more fluid with a modern camera, even if it's technically a class below some of those great cameras you mentioned in that list.
Well answered. If there was a used camera, Jordan, what would it be if you were forced to go with something that's no longer available?
And I think an A7C is a very undersung one, as long as you're not worried about autofocus. It was a much better focuser than the A7 III that so many people used. And you can get those at an absolute steal these days. The GH6, if you want to manually focus, is you can get those things for extremely cheap right now. And great quality on that. That would be a nice one as well, especially if you're already in micro four thirds.
And even if you're not, the lenses are really affordable, so it's kind of easy to get into it.
Yeah. But Jordan makes a good point, because the GH5 was manual focus only. The GH6, still you were manual focusing, and I remember starkly the sort of change in our process, and then just the overall, I don't know what the word would be, but just the impression I got from you when you went to the GH7, which I think was maybe the first time this happened, and you were like, oh, damn, I'm going to try autofocus and actually use it for a lot of shots. Yeah. And so that was very interesting. And of course, then you get the S1 and stuff, and it all maintains that same kind of capability. But yeah, I remember that being one of the first where you're like, I noticed
the G9 II was really the transition point.
You're right, G9 II.
And now I am constantly juggling between autofocus, manual focus the whole time we're out, just shot to shot, whatever's going to work better. It's a great way to work. Yeah. There's again, I said the experience is better with more modern cameras. That's exactly what I've found using more modern.
Does the price come down on the G9 II? I don't know.
Why would you spring them? The price is going down on nothing. Everything is exponentially more expensive.
Do we remember what that originally retailed for?
No,
I believe it was 18 hundos when that thing first got launched.
It is currently available for 1,600.
Oh, there you go. Great camera.
Yeah. You loved this camera. I remember we were in San Jose when we
as a video camera. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. While that happened, I managed to get Tyran's SpeakPipe uploaded. So let's listen to his question.
G'day everyone, I'm a film photographer from the city roundabouts, Canberra, Australia. I sometimes shoot digital with my Fuji X series cameras, but primarily shoot film with my Canon FTB. As we have seen, Fujifilm have gotten more adventurous with film photography in their digital software, with the recent release of the X1/2 camera, would the next step for Fujifilm be to build a dedicated film camera? I personally would love to see Fujifilm make a dedicated X Pro film camera with its X series of lenses. Understandably, this would take time and a lot of money to produce and may be expensive for the consumer. However, with Leica's M6 and MP always selling out to the dentists of the world, and with the recent success of the Pentax 17, there is obviously a demand for these products. Will we eventually see Fujifilm or any major manufacturer actually take the lunge and build a dedicated film camera? Thank you for all your content and keep up the great work. It's definitely been worth me being a member for.
There it is.
I'll now go back to the PetaPixel store for the 100th time this month, eagerly awaiting for Chris's barbecue hot sauce to become available. Cheers, Ty.
I don't think it's possible for you to make a hot sauce that I'm going to like more than the one that we had in Alaska.
I just want a barbecue sauce. No, not hot sauce, barbecue sauce.
The sea kelp.
Oh my gosh.
Barbecue
I've already killed a bottle of the barnacle hot sauce.
The people are asking for it. The people are clamoring for it, Jaron. Stop being the roadblock in this road to sauce.
So what I'll say is No, I don't think Fujifilm is going to make a standalone film camera.
No, it wouldn't cover a regular 35 roll.
You could do a half frame,
It would
though.
have to be like a half frame with that. But more importantly, like digital lenses are very different. They're expecting those so they'd have to do a whole new line of lenses that don't use digital corrections for everything. And we've heard again and again, the reason that they're able to make these new lens designs is because you don't need room for the film to go back there. So it would have to be a dramatically different looking body as well to accept like a 35 millimeter canister. So new system, new lenses. I don't think they could do it. I do think some other companies could, though.
Yeah.
Now, Fujifilm could make a fixed lens version. You know what I mean? Like they could. I mean, they have. They made tons of them back in the day, right? Like so we could certainly see a return to something like that. I don't know that they are going to do it though. I just don't know if they feel the ROI is worth it.
Fujifilm is the weirdest filmmaking company that I've ever interacted with. It's like they begrudgingly continue to make film, but like don't really want to. They'll send six rolls to the most popular film store in Oregon of Provia every 9 to 11 months. It's just like, okay.
They're like an aging rock band. Everyone's like, play the old hits, the old stuff you used to do. And they're like, no, we want to drop some from our new digital album. And everyone's like, boo, do the old
album
stuff.
sucks.
And what's funny too is the film division is not at all connected to the X and GF divisions. Like we asked the executives those questions, like it's not our business. We don't even consider it. So it's
and
like
everybody's getting in the film game. Yeah.
I'm going to work on my plan, grand master plan, is to work on a video where I'm going to show 2 film cameras that I think should be a format that is revisited now, because making a film camera now, there's no point in making one like a Canon AE1 or any of the FM cameras.
There's too many of those.
There's no point in that. Yeah. If you're going to make a film camera, you have to specifically target the unusual, weird stuff. And I have 2 cameras that are unusual and weird.
TLR.
That would be a third thing. I don't have a TLR on me, but that would be a great,
digital TLR.
Great
I don't want to film TLR.
At any rate, I agree that we should see some more new film cameras because they're fun and film is really popular right now. But I just don't think. I think it's very difficult for a company to make one from scratch. Pentax straight up told us like making the Pentax 17 was like a huge,
crazy work, and it's a fairly basic camera, right? But Mint did it.
Super.
Mint did it, and they're doing their thing.
And it took them a year after they released it to iron out all of the little issues they had with the original design of that thing. So,
it's true. It's true. But I would argue that Mint is a relatively small company, right? Like it's a lot of really smart people working out of basically their workshop, you know what I mean, to make this thing, and they did it. So could somebody with actual production scale put something? Yeah, they totally could. Again, I'm still going to go back to China. I think China needs to make rangefinders full frame. I think that's definitely a way to do it. I'm surprised that nobody has competed with Leica with their rangefinders. It's not hard technology. It's pretty rudimentary. You don't have to worry about autofocusing. You don't have to worry about a lot of advanced electronics. I'm shocked and amazed that nobody has made a modern full frame film rangefinder. Put it in a lens mount that you can get affordable lenses for, and you're set. Make your own lenses. Right?
Yeah, they already do that. Yeah,
they already are. All these Chinese companies are making
It's amazing because it's film.
It's film.
You can make some compromises, but also like you can just do it in M mount because there's so many. You've already got help from ThaiPoc, for example, is making tons of M mount.
Sure, TT Artisans makes tons of them. Yeah. Like all these companies make tons of them. Seven Artisans does. They should make a full frame film rangefinder to go with the plethora of Chinese M series lenses that are available on the market. And it wouldn't be $8,000, and everybody would be able to get one relatively quickly.
I will go talk to. I bet ThaiPoc would be interested in this. I will go talk to them. I will physically see them. I have an opportunity to see them next month, so I'll go do that. All right, next one is an email from Doug. He sent 2 questions. He thought one wouldn't be good for the podcast, but we're going to answer it. The first one is, with prices going up for both bodies and lenses, do you think now would be a good time for camera manufacturers to start building out their APS-C lineup? My dream camera would be a Sony a6700 with all the angle screen of the a7R5 and 2 card slots. Fuji doesn't work for me because I photograph a lot of dogs running and their autofocus can't keep up. I love the size of both the first-party and third-party E-mount APS-C lenses. My 70 to 350 APS-C Tele is roughly the size of a 24 to 70 full frame. It seems to me that a camera setup like this would fall below the price of the A7 IV and be more full-featured than the 6000 series bodies. The only problem with that, if you want Sony to do it, is they sort of have to ignore their mantra that full frame is better than everything, and so they would be going against themselves. That's probably why Sony has been a little weak on the APS-C front, is because all they have been chanting for the past 10 years is how full frame is king.
Yeah. You're asking for a modified A6700, a more serious A6700, and I don't see them doing it. As much as I would love it, I think APS-C is a great platform. The image quality is fantastic. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think Sony would do it.
I was really a little bit disappointed that the Nikon Z52 decided to stay down market. They're like, this is a camera for people stepping up from a smartphone who want to use a real camera for the first time. I think they had a great window there to do like a D500 replacement, like an enthusiast-oriented non-Fujifilm with great autofocus camera. But they don't have... They don't have the glass to support it. It would be a platform for you to be putting Sigma and Tamron APS-C lenses on it, which thankfully Nikon does open up in the APS-C side of things. But yeah, they could absolutely do it. They're just not going to sell a lot of glass because they don't make professional APS-C lenses.
They won't do it. They won't do it.
We already saw Canon struggle to fill their own lineup, and that's why they opened up APS-C to Tamron and Sigma.
But Canon did the same thing. They have some APS-C glass, but they do the same thing. Like, everybody's treating APS-C as a gateway drug from smartphones to full frame.
Except Fujifilm. Fujifilm doesn't do that.
Yeah. They're like, Fujifilm's like, just stick with weed, man. There's no need to go further. But everybody else is like, you need to try heroin. It's the best. So they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. And it's sad. And that's why China needs to make an APS.
So you know what the issue is, I think, with a lot of these requests you're getting from China is their access to sensors is not great. That's the film one they could do, but I don't think they're going to be able to get sensors to actually make these things. No, and then the prices will increase because of it. So. Yeah. His second question, we've gotten this one before, but we'll say it again. Doug asks, where do you and Chris get this hair gel? I can't find it online. Asian hair is the worst, which is interesting. Chris and I have two different textures of Asian hair.
We do. Jaren's has nothing to complain about.
No, my hair's great. I've had hairstylists tell me they can't cut my hair anymore because it's like metal wire and it's getting stuck in their skin. It
happens. I've done that.
I caused one guy to see a dermatologist and his doctor fired me as a client. My current stylist is Korean and she told me that because it's so straight and stiff, if she screws up Asian hair, her client is screwed for 4 to 6 weeks because there's no room for error.
Doug, you're actually right. You're absolutely right. So I still use L'Oreal 24-hour Remix. That's my fave.
Which you can find online.
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
You found it in Germany once.
Yeah,
let's go shopping.
Jaren doesn't use it anymore. He's a trader, but that's because he has softer hair than I do. I have the straight up hard steel hair. It has penetrated other human beings' skin and caused them pain. My daughter stepped once on one of my a piece of hair, and it went right into her heel, and she was not happy about it.
I'm not seeing it on Amazon anymore. Maybe they stopped selling it there.
And it is available. You have to go stock up.
I've had lots of hairdressers say, you're wrecking my scissors. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not on Amazon anymore. I don't see it.
You're going to have to come to Canada. It's still popular in Canada. It's getting expensive though, but I mean, what isn't?
Wow, that's funny. It's I actually still have some. I bought it on Amazon last time.
Why don't you use it anymore?
I do. I mix it in once in a while, but I have a matte paste that I get from my. Jordan, you've used it. You liked it. The one that
look at that.
The other one.
Oh yeah.
Jared can run his fingers through his hair.
This has no product in it right now. This is just.
And it stays up. You're so lucky.
Thank you.
Mine would be like this. That'd be my hair. If I put nothing in it.
Let's do one more. This is actually just a comment, an email from John Upper. You all did a preliminary review of the Fujifilm GFX 100S Mark II, but I can't find a follow-up where you use the final/latest firmware and RAW profiles. Does the 100S2 also do the same thing you found in the GFX 100 where it misrepresents the bit depth?
Yep. If you go to high-speed shooting, it does do the same thing. I was really hoping we'd get a chance to play with this, but Fujifilm hasn't really released GF lenses in quite a while. I was hoping we'd get like a 100-2 or an S2 and a chance to see how those cameras were working with the latest firmware. They've actually had a few firmware updates since launch as well. So Fujifilm needs to make a GF lens, and then we will play with it, and we will have opinions probably. We just haven't touched either of those cameras since the launch.
All right, we're going to call it with a feel-good story of the week. Now, I'm going to preface this with, it is an ad. However, some ads are so good that you sort of have to be like, all right, good
But
job.
not the ones on the website that you can make go away with a PetaPixel membership.
This one is, it's not necessarily, I mean, it's not an ad in the sense it's like a banner or it's like a magazine ad or something you would see on like television. Maybe they'll figure out a way to do it. But Apple did a short, I would say it's a short film. It's like 5 minutes long, talking about how their action mode allows a filmmaker with Parkinson's to shoot again. Like to actually do something he loved because he lost the ability to because of his shaking. And it's a really good story. Like as far as ads go, this is Apple. It's hard to beat when
They're the kings of this, man. I remember when they introduced their like cellular save you functionality on the iPhone. I was like, the entire next keynote next year is going to be about how Apple saved so many lives. And lo and behold,
and it was.
Yeah.
And it
But
was great.
This is totally a technology that, like I don't use action mode very much because, it's a more limited resolution and stuff. And I don't find my phone footage is that bouncy. But for them to like open up some accessibility so different people can create, that's awesome. So, yeah, good on
It's really nice. It's a really nice ad. So if you don't mind watching an ad and if you can get past the fact how you feel about Apple one way or the other, it's a really good 5 minutes of your time. Excellent.
I'm sure it will make you feel good.
Yeah, in a good way. He's like, my heart. And with that, that's the podcast for this week. Excuse me, I just frog in my throat. I apologize that this is on a Friday and not our typical Wednesday, but we'll be back on Wednesday next week. And then the week after that, expect some Apple stuff because as we've mentioned before, the 9th is their next
happening.
thing. So
They invited the other Chris Nichols. Yeah. So he'll enjoy that.
With the H.
Yeah.
Yeah, the NICH. Chris Nichols is going to have a great time.
photographer. You should definitely check out Chris Nichols' work. He's a fantastic photographer. Elle, Vogue, award-winning stuff. Like works out of Toronto. Last time I checked, really cool dude.
Wait, this is an actual person?
Yeah, 100%. We get mixed
They
up
are
all
confused.
the time.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
I like
Chris
that he's also
Nichols.
Canadian.
He probably hates it. He's like, no, I'm not that guy. I don't have the YouTube channel. I'm a real photographer. Yeah. We have to meet one day. I don't know if it's going to happen. We'll see.
That's an episode.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the episodes this week. We'll hit you with another podcast next week. Have a good one.
Bye.
Are you happy now, Chris? Are you cheerful? Where are you at?
I think I was perfectly happy throughout the entire episode. I don't know what you guys are talking about.